hit record. So, should we do another audio sync?
Yeah, sure.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I think that's good.
All right.
So, you want to do the intro this time?
Not it.
Jake.
Yeah.
I'm not having this right now.
Yeah, dude.
Can you do the intro?
Welcome to the Pixel Venture Podcast. I'm Jake,
And I'm Corey.
and this is the Pixel Venture Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good episode. Episode 2 in the books.
And that's a wrap, everyone.
Yeah.
So
Go
we
home.
can finally go home.
We've been holding production hostage. And by production, I mean like the 2 Blue Yeti microphones we use.
The two dudes sitting in their rooms.
Yeah, by themselves, and it's like dimly lit. The only light is the computer screen reflecting off our glasses.
Yeah, dude.
I just realized when I drew the little graphic for last episode, I didn't put glasses on you.
Oh no.
Continuity. And now that I've talked
horror.
about it, now I have to add that. Oh
The horror.
no.
You drew like junior year me instead of present me.
That's accurate though. What? But
What?
oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I don't even remember when I started wearing glasses.
I
I
remember.
thought it was like college I started wearing glasses regularly.
Really?
Because like I remember senior year, like I'd wear them for like distance stuff, like if I need to see the board. But like
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it was college. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna like wear glasses as a thing, and just like, yeah.
I remember for me, like, I got my glasses in middle school,
Yeah.
and I was terrified to wear them around people because I thought that it would just be, like, such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I made it, like, a whole dramatic thing where I gathered, like, a bunch of friends around, and I was like, guys, this is important, and I want to show you guys this. And they were like, oh, okay, what's going on? I just put on the glasses that they're all just like, you look the same. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, like
Like,
I got my glasses around middle school too, and like I've slowly just kind of like worn them more and more because it's always just been for like distances because I am
Yeah.
nearsighted, but they're like
same here.
yeah, like unless you're driving, which you're not in middle school, or you're like watching a movie, or like you're being a loser in the back of the class, you don't really need them.
Mm.
And then like I specifically remember I'm like, now that I'm like going to college and you're you're supposed to reinvent yourself, I'm gonna wear glasses.
Wow, what a drastic change. Watch out, world.
Watch out, I'm
Jake
making
is
some leaps
unhinged.
in this world. While you're busy drinking, I'm putting on glasses.
Yeah. While you were partying and having unprotected sex, I've been reading the whiteboard.
While you're putting on beer goggles, I'm putting on glasses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone better watch out.
Everyone's off
Yeah.
partying and getting drunk like Uncle Crow.
Wow. That is probably the worst transition. Because I was going to talk about other things, but I guess we're jumping to Ruby now.
I mean, what were you going to talk about?
No, it doesn't matter anymore. Your flawless, like, transition there.
I mean, I
Means
thought you
that-
wanted structure, Corey.
Well, this isn't structure when it's like 4 minutes in and we have like 40 minutes to fill, and I was going to still try to talk about stuff, and you're just like, Uncle Crow.
Dude, we have plenty of stuff to talk about for 40 minutes.
Yeah,
We've got
true.
we've got like 2 shows, and you have a movie.
Yeah.
so
So
yeah.
I guess we could jump into it. So, just as a warning, this episode, I'm pretty sure like the rest of this will be spoilers for the finale of Ruby Volume 6, the first 2 episodes of Genlock, and then actually last night, tonight, I saw the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie with a few other friends, and so I kind of wanted to talk about that too. So yeah, if you want to watch any of what I've just said, please do before you listen to this. If not, then enjoy hearing us ramble about stuff that you probably don't care about.
Yeah.
But you listen because you love us. Anyways,
Except they don't.
yeah. Hey, you know what? I want to set a challenge for the listener. Listen for longer than 4 minutes, please.
I mean, if they're listening to this, actually, I have no idea what this is going to be cut down to, but like, it's already the 5 minute mark.
Yeah, and if you are,
So I challenge you to listen for 10 minutes.
yeah, hit us up in the comments. Hashtag 5 minute gang. Represent. We're going to get no comments, and I'm going to be real sad.
It'll be just like the last one.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? At the very least, like, we had more views on that than like 2 or 3 of the episodes on the previous platform combined.
Yeah. Except for one that had like 40 something listens or whatever.
How did we get that?
I think that was the one that we titled Korea from Weeaboo to Koreaboo.
Oh yeah, the episode with Kaylin.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So obviously we had the grill for the views.
yeah, the views on
The
an
views
audio
on
only
the
podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Man. Well, anyways, Ruby.
Yeah.
So, Volume 6 is done. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, the way you feel about the finale is different compared to me. Do you think we should go down, like, sort of like a very simplified version of what happened? Or do you want to just get right into opinions?
I think just get right into opinions, because either, like, people are listening to this and have, like, already seen it, or they're listening to it and don't care.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
No.
No. All right. It's so confident.
You should go first.
Oh, okay. So confident in how you feel. Great.
I mean, where do you want to start?
For me, I'm going to say that this finale was very by the numbers. Like, it felt like they didn't take any hardcore, like, risks with it, which, I mean, that's fine. You look back at previous volumes, like 3 and, to an extent, 5, and there's, like, so much at stake, so much going on, and then it's just the end of this volume where it's like, we need to get a plane to get to Atlas and be able to continue our quest. And suppose, like, when I saw the I'm just going to call it Godzilla, because it's pretty much just a grim version of Godzilla with breathing fire and everything. When I saw that, I thought there would be like a really cool fight scene, kind of like the end of Volume 2, where all the Grimm are invading the city. But what it came down to was Weiss summons I forget what it's called. The Grimm that's like
the yeah, like the wasp thing.
Yeah. She summons that, has Ruby ride over to the Leviathan and just think about her friends and family for a bit, then gets sad, then calls upon Jin in order to like stall for time, and then thinks about everyone that makes her happy, and they freeze the monster in place, and then I always forget her name. Was it Cordeaux?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Cordeaux goes in for like the kill in a way that reminds me of Gurren Lagann, and then was just like, "Oh hey, I'm cool with you now. Take the ship." And it just felt very like playing it safe. And I don't have anything against like people who work on it, writers and stuff like that. I know like orchestrating a show of this like magnitude is no easy feat. But like with having the previous episode where oh hey, spoilers for the previous episode, where they kill off like someone who was like a main villain for a long time with Adam. Like having that happen and then just being like, Ruby helps defeat the monster with the power of friendship. Like that's, it just feels like a tonal shift that I'm like lukewarm to. Well, oh, go ahead.
I mean, I feel.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'll let you keep going with your argument.
I mean, aside from that, I thought the animation was good. I thought this episode was pretty well animated. I like Neo and Cinder's new attire for this upcoming volume. I think especially Neo's design is a huge upgrade compared to prior seasons. I think that the little exchange that Crow has with Maria is really good, especially for his character, with how much he looked up to her as like a hunter and training. But and I feel like there's something that we agree on. The end credit scene was disappointing.
Yeah.
But we can get into talking more about what that was in particular. But first, I mean, let's hear your side. Like, what do you think of the episode?
I think I'll start with where I agree most, which is the end credit scene was kind of disappointing. Like it didn't really teach us anything we didn't already know. It's just kind of like throwing it in our faces more. Like, haha, gorilla, wings.
It felt like
cool.
It felt like they were really trying to push like, hey, remember how we said she was based off of the Wicked Witch of the West? Well, now she got flying gorillas. Like
what I think would have been better is if she made some kind of like new Grimm. Like imagine if like out of the puddles of goop you just saw a bunch of like humanoid soldiers like marching out of it.
Wow.
And you basically had a bunch of like Grimm and like Daedric armor from Elder Scrolls just like marching out. Like that would be something new.
The next volume opens on the back of a wagon.
On the way to Atlas.
But like what I thought would be cool is that what you said with like the Grimm coming out, instead of it having the like 100% new Grimm, have her bring the gorilla out and then use her powers to morph it into something new.
Yeah, like even that would have been better, not just what we've already seen with wings.
Yeah,
like,
take a glue gun and put wings on it. Like, whoa.
Like, yeah. Or as you had said before we started recording, you take a stapler and you just staple the wings on. But yeah, so that was a little disappointing. Though it was nice to have Hazel back, as he might be one of my favorite characters.
He's like, I thought you would have not been as okay with him with the way that he acted in the previous finale.
What did he do in the previous finale again?
Where I remember you were like, I hope that he stays like the strong silent type and doesn't try to fight, and then he sees Oscar and just goes, Osprey! And puts all like the dust crystals into his arms.
Like, I thought that would have been interesting, but like, I guess like thinking about it now, like he would be a kind of boring character if he just never fought.
Yeah.
Plus, like, as far as we know, he is still most like, he was fighting Ozpin for Ozpin. Like, he wasn't just, like, beating up random children.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, there's still hope for him that he has, like, some sense of, like, honor, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, like a moral compass.
Yeah. Plus, like, who knows? Like, him next to, like, Emerald is probably the closest to having, like, some kind of redemption arc. Like, he might not have it just because of, like, how he feels about Ozpin, but, like, he could be like, you know what? Maybe the world shouldn't die?
If anyone's going to have a redemption arc, it's going to be Emerald.
Yeah. Like, it probably will, but, like, I don't see Hazel as being, like, completely bad.
Yeah.
He just kind of, like, ended up on the wrong side of the tracks with, like, his sister dying.
Yeah.
And, like, kind of... I'm pretty sure he knows, like, about Ozpin's, like, story to some extent.
Mm.
Even if it's, like, a twisted version from Salem.
Yeah.
So, like he's at least an understandable bad guy, being like, I'm pretty sure like he knows the reason his sister died was because of him. So he's at least like understandable, not just like, I'm a mercenary, I was trained to be a mercenary, you were looking for a mercenary.
Yeah, like,
Like-
anyways, a little bit of a tangent. What other stuff, like, because you said you started with the stuff that you'd agree with me on, what do you, like, disagree as far as, like, how I feel about the episode?
Just as like some other like small things I agree with. I feel like the art and animation in general has like just kind of always been going up from like the beginning, with less like distinct like, oh, that's clearly like a very basic like, you know, edit from point A to point B or things like that. They're more like fluid and realistic and things like that. And I feel like the fight scenes especially have gotten better, because I remember like seasons, what was it, 4 and 5?
Season 4 had rough fight scenes.
Yeah, people were talking about like how rough they were,
That
or
being
how
said-
like they weren't continuous and people would just kind of like warp from place to place wherever they needed to be.
Yeah,
But I feel like they actually like kind of went back to their roots a little bit in this season.
that being said, the Tyrion fight between Crow and him, that's one of my favorite fight scenes from the entirety of the show.
Yeah, that one was good. But I mean, like, they pulled off things like Cinder and Neo really well.
Yeah.
And I think the one they did with Yang and Blake against Adam was also really well done. Oh, and just seeing the Grim Reaper, that was great.
Yeah,
too.
that, like, flashback sequence, especially with the way that her weapons worked with the gravity dust. Like,
Yeah.
I would have loved to see a lot more of that, but I know that's all I can really show, because it was like, that's the only important thing really from her backstory.
Yeah. Unless, like, she somehow makes, like, a miraculous return. Because we did notice how, like, her cane looks a lot like one of her sides.
I think it just straight up is one of them. I mean, we
Yeah.
made the joke of, because she can call back the other one to each other because you can combine them or whatever. We made the joke of when they go to confront Salem, she hits the button and it just flies across like the world and just chops Salem's head off.
Yep. Anyway, so I agree that, like, the show looks a lot better. And some, like, the smaller interactions, too, I thought were nice, like, between Crow and, Maria. And things like that. Where I disagree, though, so the one that I kind of, like, almost talked out of line for was you saying that it was all about, like, the power of friendship. But, like, I don't know, I feel like that's almost like an oversimplification,
Yeah.
in a sense. Like, to me, it just feels like if you're going to call that using the power of friendship, like, you can just call so many other things the power of friendship. Like, anytime someone, like, relies on, like, the people around them.
Well, because
Because, like, it's at least, like, built as, like, a part of the show. Like, you have to think about, like, strong emotions for, like, the thing to work.
I just, like, the thing that I sort of, like, initially equated the like, ability of Silver Eyes to was the Care Bear stare. Because it's, like, think about,
no.
like, all the people you care about and everyone you want to protect. And just protecting life itself. And all I can think about is Care Bears with their guts out, like, staring at a riverbed and then making it flood with water again.
Oh, God.
That's what it is.
But, like, there were a couple of gripes I had with the episode, like, I thought it was kind of cheap that Jin was just kind of like, oh, you summoned me to save you some time and literally freeze time. How smart of you. It's like, no, that's cheating. Like, if they allow them to use like the third wish, it's going to be kind of like, wait, so they can just like freeze time basically. Like, even if she was given a warning,
Well,
it's
they
like,
said that
really,
was the one time.
you're a divine being. You're you are literally knowledge itself, and you're going to play by, aw, you got me. You got me. You're clever. You got me.
I feel
Good
like it was
job.
more of an excuse to be like, hey, remember we worked on this character model? We spent a week on it. We need to find a way to use it again.
Maybe, but like, still, I don't know. That to me felt a little bit cheap. Along with, I know you had like defenses for it, but like the fact that Argus had like the hard light defense walls that did literally nothing except like stand for like 5 seconds.
It's because it's a fucking kaiju.
Literally, it wasn't the wall that failed. It was the thing making the wall, and it's like,
But the glory
So-
of Atlas.
you wanted to hit the wall, specifically the wall, but not the thing like 5 feet away from the wall that is creating the wall.
Look,
like,
look.
like even on the giant like mech robot, they knew to protect the thing creating the hard light shield.
Like-
like even then they knew to do that.
It's the way that I see it is just since it's based off of Godzilla and Godzilla has like the atomic breath and everything, like it just melts through shit like that.
But then have it break through the wall.
Well, it did.
It did. It like turned over to the like the like pillar that was generating the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah. Why wasn't that protected?
because like I don't know, every like base in video games and just in shows in general has a weakness. I mean, you see like Attack on Titan, there's like the fucking Titan that just roundhouse kicks walls down like it's nobody's business.
Like, if to me personally, if they wanted to show off that the Grim was powerful, have it break through like the actual wall, like shooting at the wall itself, not the thing creating the wall, and have it break through that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been fine. Being like, oh no, like the defenses we thought would stand didn't. Not, oh, we forgot to protect like the literal one weak point on the entire wall.
I mean, it seems like Atlas has like an affinity to have weak points be very obvious. I mean, hell, there was the shield generator on the back of Cordo's like mech.
I guess, but like, I don't know. That just seems like kind of cheap, but that's just me. What else was there? Oh, I'm curious what they're gonna do with like Ozpin since he's like kind of coming back.
I feel like
He like made the appearance, being like, "Calm down."
yeah, I feel like it's going to be he's not going to be directly involved with the kids anymore, but if there's like a situation where Oscar's life is in danger, he'll intervene. Because like
You think so?
because what it comes down to is Oscar is his current vessel,
Yeah.
and seeing how protective he is of him shows like something's going on with Oscar that's like bigger than they currently have told us. Like that's what I'm getting from it, because it's like they're trying to hammer in where it's like, oh, it's just an ordinary farm boy who's 14 who's like chosen by like, you know, the cosmic force and stuff to house Ozpin's consciousness. But there's got to be more.
I mean, like the way I saw it was like, oh, he's just a general farm boy with Ozpin. Like, I thought the thing would just be like at random, and he just like happened to be chosen as a farm boy. You know, farm boy with a very similar name.
Yeah,
as that tends to be the pattern.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of weird if Ozpin just kind of like gave up hope. Uh, I don't know. Like that just seems like a bad place to take the character.
Yeah.
Because like even if what he's been putting up has been like a facade of having a plan, it's like I don't know. It just feels kind of cheap if it's like he's the one who's supposed to save the world, and then he's like, no, no, I'm gonna let the kids do it.
Maybe. Because earlier in the volume, there was the whole thing where it was like there was one wish was already used with Jen. What if that wish involved like being like, so who can really kill Salem? And he learns that it's one of the kids, and that's why he's backing off.
Maybe.
That's a bit of a stretch, though, because that comes down to when did he have the relic?
I mean, for all we know, that wish was used after they like got it in Volume 5. Because it freezes time, so no one else would know.
It also could have been done before that by Ozpin in his other form, like the headmaster form.
It could have.
But those are theories that we could probably expand upon another day. I guess overall, if you had to rate this out of 10, what would you say?
I would probably give it like a solid 7.
I would
like.
Go ahead.
I would say it's pretty good, but it's got like a few falling points that keep it from being like an 8 or a 9.
I personally would put it at a 6 because it's like it's not middle of the road, but it doesn't do enough where I would be like I can put it higher.
Yeah.
Because like the finale of Volume 5 was just crazy. Because, I mean, there was the reunion of Ruby, learning that they have to go to Atlas, the fight scenes and everything, that really emotional, like, back and forth that Yang had with Raven. Like, that was all huge, and that just happened, like, there.
I mean, I feel like sorry, but like I feel like if you think about it, like it might be disappointing as like a finale, but like according to what we've heard, like Montiome had what 12 volumes planned,
roughly,
and like this is about like the halfway point. So, like I feel like it works good as like a transitionary episode because it takes us from like where we are, it wraps up enough things, like, you know, sometimes cleanly, sometimes a little bit rough. Like I agree with you that like whatever her name is, Cordeaux, like just kind of changing character instantly is a little bit like cheap, but like it does kind of tie that up a little bit, and like it's sending us directly to Atlas, and we know like something's going on because it's been like militarized. So like I think it works good as like to carry us off and to keep us like waiting for the next season. It just doesn't feel like as clean a finale as a finale should be.
Yeah. Speaking about things that don't feel as clean as it should be, let's talk about Genlock.
Oh yeah?
Because when we were talking a little bit earlier, we had a similar feelings when it came down to the way it was animated.
Oh, right. Like, I was just thinking, like, I thought Genlock was really good. What are you talking about? But, like, yeah,
I think it's
animation.
fantastic, but, like, there's still...
Yeah, exactly. But
like,
the animation...
Yeah, well, we'll start sort of, I guess, with the negatives first, since that's kind of the way I led into it.
Yeah.
The animation goes from being, like, if you ever seen Into the Spider-Verse, that sort of jagged animation style, and then can have moments where it's really smooth, like during the fight sequences, but then characters are talking by themselves, and it's just it looks like it was rendered at a lower frame rate, and I don't have a problem if people do that for an artistic style, but like going from one to the other, it just kind of threw me off.
Yeah, like it's a little bit jarring, and like when I like first noticed it, I thought there would be like a bit of a pattern to it, either like just because I have no idea what else to call it. It's kind of like the frame rate, I guess.
Well, that is what
Yeah.
it is, because it's
Well,
like
yeah. So
like going from
like
60
I don't
frames
know
to
if there's
40.
like I don't know if there's like an actual like term for that. But, like I thought like the change would be like correspondent to like something in particular. Like the fight scenes would be rendered differently as like a faster, like smoother frame rate, as opposed to just like general like expositionary stuff or like something like that. But it just kind of feels very like random,
Yeah.
like when they do it. Um, which like I don't really mind it either way. I just kind of wish they would like stick to one, or like again keep it to like a pattern.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I honestly don't have many complaints.
They killed Blaine.
Well, oh, that's actually something that I should mention is so technically I watched the 2 episodes that were premiered out of order
Oh right.
because I thought that the first episode was just the trailer, like the teaser trailer that they released before. So I jumped to the second one and then I went to the first one. And so some of my opinions may be skewed because of that. But regardless, I think this series is going to become something big because Michael B. Jordan does a fantastic job. Like, he's perfect for the role of Chase. David Tennant is an absolute joy in episode 2. Like, you can tell that he's passionate about this.
Yeah.
And like there's such like key lines where it's like, well, you when you create something that saves the world, you get to name it.
Mm-hmm.
Like just, or the whole thing where Chase like cuts to the Chase with
Wow.
his well, look, they were close to making the pun in the show, and then David Tennant cut himself off, so I might as well have made it. But he was about to like jump to talk about like what his condition is, and David Tennant's character just goes, "Spoilers! Jeez, I made this whole presentation," and he just starts skipping through a bunch of different slides. Like, I love that. But aside from that, I think all the other supporting characters are really fun. I think the girl in green is going to become a fan favorite character just of the way she interacts with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this earlier, but I love Chase's relationship in the way that is, because in the first episode you see Chase essentially die because there's this huge fight scene and he gets like shot down, and
Mm-hmm.
between that episode and the second episode there's a 4-year time skip, and instead of having like I forget her name, what's the
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
yeah, well, because it throws a lot of characters at you at once, like in these
Yeah.
first 2 episodes, which the best way I can compare it to, it's like Voltron, where they throw like 10 characters at you within the first 2 episodes. You're trying desperately to grab onto them.
And I mean, on the bright side, at least they're all like visually different,
Yeah,
and like a lot of their attitudes are different. So like you don't necessarily get them mixed up. You just like don't remember who's who.
you got Sombra.
Or, like, what their
you got,
names are.
You got Sombra. You got Scottish. You have Japanese.
You mean Hanzo? Give him a bow, and you got Hanzo.
Jesus, man, Hanzo main, but
We don't talk about that.
yeah.
As someone who saw it in the right order, I'm actually really impressed with the writing. especially because like when they killed Chase off in like the first episode, I legit thought like he could have been dead, and that like could have been a thing.
Yeah,
But like,
man.
because I didn't see like any of the promotional like material or anything. It's like for all I knew, like yeah, like sure it was Michael B. Jordan, but like he could have been killed.
I would
Like
love
he could have
that.
taken that as like a one-off role.
I would love that. Like, have a series where all the advertising, everything just sort of builds up like this character as being the main character, the main hero, and just within the first episode, they die and it focuses on everyone else.
Especially like having such like, I would call him like he's a big name actor at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. Black Panther.
Yeah,
You got,
so like
I believe, was it Friday Night Lights? He was in that?
Creed.
Yep.
So like having that and then just like killing them off like that, I feel like that would really set a tone for a show.
I thought they were going to do that to David Tennant's character in the second episode.
Mm,
Up and
he's too smart for that.
yeah, well, up until he told like the guy who was pretending to be Sinclair to get into the like capsule to get inside one of the mechs, and then he essentially just kills that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Like the way I kind of saw that going down is like he was smart enough to know that he wouldn't have shot him because there's probably like a reason he was keeping him captive, and it was probably to like get into one of the Genlock
Yeah.
suits. So like he probably knew like he could be a little bit like tempting, being like, oh, like, you know, did you manage to like fake your way in here? Or are you not actually Sinclair? Like he was able to kind of like prod a little bit like that because he knew he had like the armor
Yeah.
for it.
like that little conversation in the elevator, like that was really well done, like right and wise too.
I thought that was really
The
done
theme
well.
song.
The way they the way they wrote his relationship with his girlfriend, the way they wrote off like killing him and then not. I thought the whole like intro to the pilot, where like it's him with his girlfriend and his family, like I thought all of that was written really well too.
Because it felt
Like
real.
it felt natural. It felt real. Even the story about like the cookie, like that feels like the kind of embarrassing story that like you would hear.
Yeah, like it's like such genuine conversation, which like this shows leaps and bounds how far Rooster Teeth has come
Yeah.
as like a production company, because like you go back to like the first few episodes of Ruby, not to like, you know, say that they didn't know what they were doing, but you have lines like where it's like, I don't need to get any stronger, I drink milk, like shit like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course you get like higher budget actors and actresses, you're going to get like higher budget like writers and things like that. It only makes sense. But like I'm just really proud of Rooster Teeth as far as how far they came, like from just making Halo machinimas in essentially like a closet.
I think it's funny you bring that up because I was actually going to compare it to Red versus Blue. Because like
Honestly, that's the thing that a lot of people are making parallels of. Hell, I told you that this is the origin story of Church.
but like if you think about how they started off, like not even talking about like animation and stuff like that, because that was like not as much of a thing back then. But like
Yeah.
if you think of it from like a story perspective, like a lot of the jokes from then were like, or just like a lot of like the storytelling was like very minimal, and it was not very like, it didn't feel that realistic. Like it felt very staged, like a
Yeah.
sitcom basically. But like now it actually feels like real, and like I think you could argue whether or not that's intentional the way they did it back then, but like I feel like you can still tell like the difference in like the quality in terms of skill, not just like, you know, quality over time as things like just look better by default.
What I see, like what I see Red versus Blue as is, at the beginning it was a parody series, and then it slowly evolved to be its own thing that they took more seriously.
Yeah.
because like you watch the like Blood Gulch saga, and you can tell that it's like they have some semblance of a story, but it's not like major. And then you get to like more recent like seasons where they have like way more of a budget and just like
And you get to things like
it's just great.
you get to things like Reconstruction and the Chorus
Yeah.
trilogy and things like that. And you can really tell that like it's changed the series.
Yeah. Or what was it? The Shinzo Paradox
Yeah,
was like the most recent one.
yeah,
Um, it you can I don't know. Basically, what we're saying is Rooster Teeth. We love what you're doing. Keep doing it,
keep doing it.
and
Don't ever
I
let
will
us
continue
down.
to yeah I'll continue to give you a stupid amount of money each year
Yeah, dude.
to keep it up. But I think with that, I'm gonna take the next few minutes to talk about the Broly movie.
And I am going to sip at my tea as I pretend to know what you're talking about.
Well, you didn't really watch Dragon Ball growing up, did you?
I like watched a couple of episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai when it was on TV and I had nothing else to do at home.
As long as it's not GT, you're good.
I remember watching Goku run from like heaven along like a dragon bridge
Yeah,
back home.
yeah, that's first season.
Yeah, I remember watching that
Um,
episode like 5 bajillion times because apparently that's the only episode they can ever play. But whatever.
But
And uh, never mind.
what do you mean? Never mind.
I was just gonna keep listing off like episodes that I've seen, but that would be boring.
Yeah, I mean, if people have listened to this point, they've kind of accepted like this is what we sound like, this is how we talk. But
Yeah,
if you want me to get into the movie, I can.
yeah, sure.
I'm gonna flat out say I can see why this is like the third highest like grossing anime movie in America, and it's only behind the first and second Pokemon movies. Because this movie is really good. As someone who, like, I enjoy Dragon Ball. I've watched it a lot before, and I've been meaning to catch up with Dragon Ball Super because what this movie is meant to do is it's supposed to connect Broly, who has always been traditionally a character that only exists in like the movies that are separate from the main lore. This movie is made to incorporate him into the main series, and they do it in such a way that is not only like interesting, but it's also very funny and very entertaining. There's a lot of quality jokes in this film that, like, just watching it, there was multiple times where we just started laughing, like where the main desire of Frieza to collect the Dragon Balls is so he can make himself 5 centimeters taller because he wants people to think that he's still growing naturally and that he's going to just end up being really tall and intimidating. And Bulma is trying to get the Dragon Balls because she wants to look 5 years younger. Like, I think that's hilarious. I thought that a lot of the voice acting was great as always. Like the team who does the English dub, fantastic. Always will be like the cast that I will associate forever with Dragon. A lot of cool animation like choices and a lot of cool shots. There's one point where during the fight between Broly and I believe at this point it's between him and Goku, they cut to a first-person shot of you in the perspective of Broly, like throwing energy, like beams and punching him through mountains and stuff. And initially, it's really shaky and really quick, and you don't really know what's going on until you start seeing his hands. And I think that's effective because it just shows how fast the characters are moving. Because you get a pretty good idea of how fast they're moving in a lot of their fights. because sometimes they have like shots where they pull out and you just see like sonic booms happening on the left corner, then the bottom right, and then all over the place. But this movie really gets you feeling the speed. It also made his actual like Broly's origin and everything so that he's not as much of a villain but more of a relatable character by having it be like his dad was pretty much abusive and just forced him to study being like becoming like the strongest Saiyan in spite of being banished from their homeworld, which actually being banished from the homeworld is the reason why they lived. But that's besides the point. Like, I think out of all the Dragon Ball movies, this definitely is my favorite because my prior favorite was I believe Resurrection F with the introduction of Golden Frieza, and that was a fun movie. But this just like it just took the bar and rose it a little higher because even the side characters, like there's this character who is this like short green alien girl, and she befriends Broly, and I love all the interactions she has between like her and Broly because it's such a genuine like she's trying to make conversation with him and like be a friend, and in the end she takes the Dragon Balls and wishes for him to be safe. And so like I don't know, man. What it comes down to is I really liked it. I feel like I'm going to need to watch it again just to catch all the details and watch it with like more critical eye, because when I first watched the movie tonight, I pretty much just went in with the perspective of, oh my god, I love Dragon Ball, and like didn't really like look very critically at it. I feel like if I watch it again, I can take a more critical like stance on it and be able to better describe like what I think of it. I will say though, my one complaint with the film is I want to see more of Whis fight in, because Whis is like is a really cool character. I like him a lot, and I just want to see him do stuff. You done with your tea?
Yeah.
And I think, unless there's anything else you would like to add, I think that's an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you again so much for listening. If you want to continue supporting us and everything, feel free to like, subscribe, share around if you feel like other people can deal with our voices. If you want to be notified anytime a new episode comes up, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. And we appreciate everyone who listens to it, no matter how long it is, like that you're here. It really does mean a lot. And until next time, I've been Corey.
And I've been Jake.
Thank you for listening.
See ya.